This is a thermal paste, but so is this, and that. So what's the difference, and which one is better? Let's find out. But first of all, what is even a thermal paste? See, every PC builder knows that you need to apply thermal paste on your CPU, but not everyone knows why. To understand that, we need to understand how a CPU even works. So, to calculate things, our CPU uses electricity. But where is this electricity goes? Well, it all becomes heat. A lot of heat. And for that we have the CPU cooler. And there are all sorts of CPU coolers. We have water cooling, we have air cooling, single tower or dual tower. But the thing all those CPU coolers have in common is that they all need to touch the actual CPU. That's exactly where the thermal paste comes in. You see, our CPU cooler and our CPU has a lot of tiny microscopic bumps on it. And while it looks like the CPU cooler touches the actual CPU, there are a lot of tiny little air bubbles. And since air is a terrible heat conductor, our CPU will not be cooled. So by putting the thermal paste on, we make sure that those air bubbles becomes filled with the thermal paste. Now, there are two main things that we need to worry about when choosing a thermal paste. First of all, obviously it has to have a high thermal conductivity. And second, it has to be terrible at conducting electricity, so it won't short things out. Okay, so now that we understand what the thermal paste does, let's start testing it. So first we need to build a test PC. For the motherboard, I got one from a Latitude PC from 2007. It's a small form factor HP. Our CPU for today will be the Core 2 Duo 8400. This CPU is from 2008, which is great because it will heat up like crazy. We're gonna install that by pulling this retention arm and putting it in the right orientation by using this golden triangle to align it properly. After that, we're gonna close back the retention arm. Now comes the memory. 3 sticks of RAM will be more than enough. Notice that this is DDR2. Each stick is 1 GB. Now comes the hard part with the PSU, but you won't need to see that. Let's skip it. Now let's use this drive to upload a Windows 11 demo directly into the memory, so we won't need an HDD. Now let's add this 13 years old GT710. Back in the day when GPUs cost nothing. Now for the fun part. Let's start using the MX4. The MX4 is Arctic flagship, so it better performs. Now let's put it on. Now lastly, let's put the CPU cooler and turn this thing on. And let's go, it spins to life. By the way guys, if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing. It's free and it can help me grow the channel. Okay, so now that we uploaded the operating system, we can finally start testing the CPU and its temperature. So here in the top you can see our CPU benchmark test results. And in the bottom you can see the current temperatures. Just notice that because this CPU is 19 years old, it cannot show less than 40 degrees. So it will measure from 40 and above. So let's start the test. After running it for a while, we can see we got up to 49 degrees. Let's compare it to the others. Okay, so it's time to open out the cooler and replace the thermal paste. And after opening it, we can see that our spread is pretty good. All of the surface area is filled with the thermal paste. Although it seems like we put a little too much. But that's okay, don't worry. We can also see that on our cooler, it's almost fully spread, meaning the MX4 spreads very well. Next up, we're gonna put the GD900. And just for a heads up warning, I got it from an off-brand in AliExpress, so I'll be shocked if it even performs. This 30-gram tube cost me $2, while 4 grams of the MX4 cost me $9. So the MX4 costs 34 times more. Alright, enough bragging, let's put the GD900 on. Nice, it turns on. Let's continue with the test. So it's kinda the same, although now we can see our max temperatures in the right column. Let's continue with the test. And after about 10 minutes of running the test, I can't believe it. The GD900 got only up to 48 degrees, which means it's 5 to 7% better than the MX4. And given the price tag of those thermal pastes, it's kinda shocking. Well, there you go, either I got a magical one or the GD900 is actually good. Okay, now let's open the CPU cooler to check what's going on under it. And wow, that's a really good spread. We can see the spread going on the CPU and the CPU cooler evenly, and that's beautiful. Alright, now after cleaning it, it's time for the TM30. Notice that the TM30 is from Corsair, which is a legit company, so it probably will perform really good. Now let's put it on. Okay, so to be honest, the TM30 wasn't as viscous as I thought, but it's probably because it's designed to be like that. Now let's go ahead and start the test and see how much it gets. And it got 51. Again, that is shocking, because that means that the GD900 is actually better than both the TM30 and the MX4. Now the TM30 costs $9 for 2 grams. That's almost 70 times the price of the GD900. Now let's open it and see what's going on under it. And we can see the spread wasn't as good as I thought it would be. I mean, just look at this cooler, it looks like it didn't even touch the thermal paste. Again, I'm not a professional benchmarker, but I mean, just look at those temps. I would recommend you buy the GD900 if you're on a tight budget, but since we haven't tested it for more than a few minutes, we cannot actually know what's going on after a few days or even months. So it may have some reliability issues, but overall, I think that the GD900 really surprised me, and the TM30 wasn't nearly as good as I thought. We have some more brands to test, but overall we got our answers. So for the casual PC builders, I would recommend the MX4, and for those that on a tight budget or those that need to replace the thermal paste once in a while, I would recommend buying the GD900. It's cheaper and it's better on short-term performance. Alright guys, that was the video for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Put a like down below if you like this video, and subscribe if you want to see similar content. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.